You're putting in the work, you're showing up online, and you're telling everybody about your amazing new business. But why is nobody reaching out to work with you? You could be making the same mistake I did. And this is that your initial client contact points are unclear and difficult to use and understand. If you are not making it simple and easy for your client to know where to click, what you are offering, how much it will cost them, and what the benefit is, they are probably going to click off to work with somebody else. Somebody who makes the benefit of working with them super clear, who tells you how much it's going to cost you so you can figure out if you have the budget, and who tells you what their services are. So if you want to improve your client attraction system, stick around and learn from my mistakes. Welcome back to my YouTube series where I improve my small business as I learn and scale. I am Marguerite, a digital business manager. In my previous videos in this series, I was heavily focused on content creation because this is where you attract clients, but now I'm actually focusing on something that is probably and arguably way more important, and that is to make it easy for clients to work with me and to convert clients. Recently, I got my first client, and I really do not understand how this happened because I was making it ridiculously difficult for any client to figure out what my service is, what my rates are, and whether or not they should contact me, how to contact me, and so forth. I was creating so much friction. A lot of potential clients were probably moving on, and I can see that in my client intake form stats. So today we are tackling that because none of that. I want clients who convert, and I'm sure you do too. So we are fixing touch points. What are these? These are the exact places where a client first interacts with you, your brand, and your business. And this is probably where they're going to decide whether or not they trust you and they want to work with you. It has to be frictionless, it has to be clear, and it has to be easy to navigate. My current client attraction system is as follows. First, clients really get to know me through my YouTube or my Instagram. Then I usually direct clients to clicking on the link in my bio. This link then takes them to a client intake form where I ask them how I can help them with a business. If they fill that in, I then set up a discovery call, and if the discovery call goes well and I think the client is a fit for me or I'm a fit for the client, then I actually set up a proposal document. We will be auditing each of these because I already noticed a few mistakes or problems I am having. The first is with my initial link tree, and that is basically my link in bio. The major problem here is that I don't tell anyone what my services are, and I'm not telling them how much I charge. So that is what I really would like to fix there. The other problem I've discovered through talking to a few potential clients and current clients is that my client intake form is not as clear as it could be. There are a few options for clients to decide what service they want from me, but if you were not in my ecosystem or you haven't watched a lot of my videos and you're not informed about what a digital business manager does, you probably wouldn't know which offer to select from me. The other nice thing I have when somebody fills in my client intake form is that I get an email to tell me that this intake form has been filled in and that I should go and take action on it. This is great. However, the email always ends up in a promotions label in my business account, and this always gets ignored by me for a day or two. I would prefer that email goes to my direct inbox. So I also want to fix that. I also want to tweak a few things in my discovery call questionnaire. I have a lot of questions there, but I realize that I'm not always asking the right questions so that I can create a very good proposal. Obviously, your proposal document needs to be solid because you need to show clients that you understood their problem and that you can actually fix it. So I'm also going to audit that once again, just to double check some questions, make it more readable, and so forth. The last thing I'm going to be doing in my system is adding some templates so I reduce redundant work. As I've told you guys in a previous video, if you're doing something more than once, you should have a template. I didn't listen to my own advice and we're fixing it. For my link tree, the first thing we are doing is looking at my current links. I want to create an option where I show clients what I am offering. So I went to my proposal document that I had from previous templates and my onboarding document, and I went to take my packages and services from there. I am also changing my packages and services, so I need to update the offers. The one thing I am working on is a special offer for clients to help them align with their business. It's called the Align Framework. And here I will be working with the client to help them see their goals for their business and help them set in place what they really should be doing, how they should be working towards it, and whether or not it really is what they want. Why is it so important to have a goal? Because if you don't have a goal, it's really difficult for me as a DBM to work with you and take initiative and put new systems and ideas in place because I don't know what we are working towards. So I think for some business owners, they actually need to do this first before actually building a team and growing, because otherwise they will not grow in the right direction. So that is the framework that I'm working on and will be coming soon. So I want to have a little wait list for that to see if people are interested in it. The second thing I'm offering is a retainer, and This is at minimum going to be a 3-month retainer, just so that I can really get into the business framework, scale with the business, learn how they work, and really see what the small business needs. And then the last package I want to offer is a custom package, because sometimes people just need an audit. They really just want a very set project to be managed, or they want help with onboarding team members. So this way I can offer that as well. I initially did this in a PDF format, like of a A4 slide and landscape form, but I realized when I actually opened this on my phone, this is difficult to view on mobile and you really have to zoom in a lot. But if you are on desktop, it looked fine. However, most of the time people watch things, especially things on Instagram, on their phone. So I want my offer to look really good on a phone. Recreated my offer to look good on a mobile view. And in this case, I asked ChatGPT to just double check everything that I was doing, whether or not it was clear, and to optimize some of my copywriting, because I'm not a copywriter and I would like people to work with me. So any optimization is as good as it gets. The last step of all of this was to double check how it would look for a user. You always want to make sure all your links work. You always want to make sure that it is easy to read for a user and that it is clear. I also didn't make a website for this at all, so I really just went on Canva and I created a PDF for this information with a few hyperlinks to a landing page for the Align framework and then my client intake form. Why didn't I create a website? Well, number one, I don't want to manage a website right now. Two, I'm still starting out my business and I really don't want to get stuck up on creating a beautiful website with an About Me page and a landing page for this and an intake form for that. I want to try and keep what I'm doing as minimal as possible and keep my expenses and overhead as low as possible. So for now, a PDF hosted on my Google Drive is perfect. Could it be better? Of course it can, but we are trying to iterate and improve as we grow instead of trying to make everything perfect at once. Now, the next step in my client onboarding journey is my client intake form. As I mentioned, I don't necessarily have major problems here. It's not a terrible form. The one thing I realized though is when I ask clients how I should help them, there's been some unclarity. So I tried to take my offers and just put a few brackets next to it to make it clear what I am offering. I also updated one other part of this form, and that was to help clients quickly select whether or not they want a recurring type of project or if they want a once-off type of project. This just gives me an idea of what I should be asking in my discovery call in terms of if it's a one-time project, is it a launch? Are we having a specific deadline? Versus if it is a recurring project, I just need to see how long they want a monthly retainer to continue for. It makes it a lot easier for me to set up the discovery call and not ask silly questions during the discovery call. And it also makes it a lot quicker for a client to select what they need instead of typing in what they need. From the client intake form, I then send myself a little automated email once a client submits it. One thing I really dislike about Typeform, or at least the free version, is that you don't get an email immediately if somebody submits a response to the Typeform form, and you have to automate it with Zapier. So I have a little automation, and the problem with this automation at the moment is that it is being sent from Zapier itself. So whenever I get this email, it goes into my promotional inbox instead of my main inbox in Gmail. So what I did is just go and update my Zapier. I improved the automation so that it sends an email from me to me, essentially, and that the inbox label is present so that it immediately goes to my inbox instead of my promotions. And I also improved what is in the body of the email. The nice thing about Zapier is that you can see the form responses. So I wanted to format the email that I can see everything the form response had in the email instead of having to go back to Typeform to go look at what somebody responded. Putting all the information that a client gave me during the intake form in an email makes it so much easier for me to just use Gmail and to look at what the client said and fill in my discovery call questionnaire a bit more. Now I went to my discovery call questions. For every single client, I have a template, so a client onboarding template, and we'll go through that in my next video. In this discovery call questionnaire, I usually have a bunch of questions. I reordered some of the questions to guide the person I am talking to through all of the questions so I get the answers I need for the proposal, because everything in the discovery call needs to go to the proposal documents. So I want to make sure I understand what type of support the business needs. All of this is really important for me to also know how to set up my work and how long I will be getting an income from this client, so I know how to also manage my client intake for the future and so forth. You need to get as much good information from that call as possible, so clients know that you understood them, so clients know that you are going to be able to help them and that you are the best person for the job. Now it's finally time for the proposal. So if everything went well, I like the client likes me, and we're going forward, and I'm making a proposal document. There are a few problems with this document. The first thing is that the order of the slides were a bit weird. So I asked ChatGPT to help me to see how I should be ordering all of the slides so that it takes the client through a nice journey as well. And you want to make a good impression. You want to keep on building trust during this process. So I wanted to make sure that I'm not putting too much information about myself and how I can serve the client that it feels too salesy, but I also didn't want to put too little so that I'm not building any trust or having further contact with this client. The other thing I'm improving is the scope of work document. In the scope of work document, I didn't really explain what I'm doing. So I just wanted to make it clear that there's a differentiation between the goals and the scope of work, because the goals is really what we're trying to get, the outcome and the deliverable, where the scope of work is mainly how I'm going to work to get to that goal. I also tried to improve my what to expect page. Now this slide or page is all about telling clients what to expect after they accept the proposal and what the journey will look like, so that they can also feel at ease, know what to expect, know what is coming their way, what they might have to prepare for me, and so forth, and whether or not that is something that they would be willing to do. And it was a massive amount of text. It was just overwhelming to look at. So again, if a client is overwhelmed or confused about anything that you are offering, they are probably not going to buy. So you need to make it so much simpler and easier for them to understand and decode. So I made it a lot more scannable, again, with the help of ChatGPT. I just gave it the text that I had in the correct order and said, please just make it more concise, give it bullet points. And then I refined it a little bit so it could sound more like me and my brand. I also improved the next steps. You always want to tell clients what they should do next. That you don't just want to send a proposal document and leave it. You want to at least tell them, okay, if you accept this proposal, you need to do ABC to let me know. If you accept this proposal, this is when we will start working together. And the last thing we are fixing, finally, is the proposal emailing template. I absolutely hate writing emails that are salesy. So every single time I have to do it, I actually put it off to the last thing on my to-do list for the day. And this is really bad because you want your client to get a proposal. You want your client to be excited to work with you. And also, if somebody's trying to work with you, you want to feel excited. This is what I want to do, right? This is why I'm building a whole side hustle. So I should not be feeling annoyed that I have to send a proposal email. I really needed to get over that. And again, I'm doing this more than once, so I should be having a template. So every time I send this email, it is very quick for me to do. So I went into Gmail and set up a new template for the client proposal email that I will have to send. I just typed whatever was on my mind that I thought should be in an email like this, and I asked ChatGPT to make it a bit more concise and to improve it a little bit, again using my brand voice, my brand tone, how I like to speak. And in general, this wasn't bad. It's just mainly about saying hi to the client, thanking them for their time, for being willing to work with me, telling them that the proposal is there, and repeating what the next steps are for them to work with me. Even though it may seem like a lot of repetition, it makes it a lot clearer for your client, and they don't have to think about how to work with you. Making it easy for them, again, is key. And that's it. Now that my client attraction system is clear and there's a lot less friction for clients to work with me, I really expect things to go a little bit better for me, and that clients don't feel like they have to jump through so many hoops to work with me. If there's only one thing that you take away from today's video, it should be that you should make things very clear for your clients, make your offer clear, and make your value that you give them exceptionally clear so that they know what you offer and what your unique selling proposition is and why they should be working with you. But getting the client is just the first step. The next thing you need to make amazing for your client is the onboarding system, and that is what I'll be tackling next. If you like this video and if you learned anything from it, I really think you would enjoy this one too. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!